Hello. Today we're dealing with puzzles, a different way of looking at reality, possibility and impossibility, games that we play with words. When I was at school, junior high school, that's about ages about 8 to about 13, we loved playing with words, and we had a lot of riddles and puzzles with words, and they ran in fads. Different ideas of the way you used the words. Things like, when is a door not a door? When is a jar? And what did the mayonnaise say to the fridge? Shut the door, I'm dressing. What did one wall say to the other? Meet you at the corner. What did one carrot say to the other? Nothing, carrots can't talk. Or you'd rearrange the emphasis within a sentence. Instead of saying, what's in the road ahead, you'd say, what's in the road? Ahead? Or what are we having for dinner? Mother? So the idea of playing with words and with an idea of, well, really what reality is. It's in song, story, and in riddle form, joke form. We entertain each other. This is called the Riddle Song. I gave my love a cherry that had no stone. I gave my love a chicken that had no bone. I told my love a story that had no end. I gave my love a baby with no crying. How can there be a cherry that has no stone? How can there be a chicken that has no bone? How can there be a story that has no end? How can there be a baby with no crying? Cherry when it's blooming, it has no stone. A chicken when it's a pippin, it has no bone. The story of I love you, it has no end. A baby when it's a getting, there's no crying. Of course, one of the easiest ways of bending reality, as we've learned from the last 4 years in the White House, is just by lying. And when you sing a lying song, you have to keep a straight face. You can't be making fun of what you're singing. I buyed me a little dog, his color it was brown. I learned him to whistle, to sing, dance and run. His legs, they were 14 yards long, his ears, they were broad. Around the world in half a day, on him I could ride. Sing tattle-a-day. I buyed me a little bull about 4 inches high. Everybody feared him that ever heard him cry. When he began to bellow, he made such melodious sound that all the walls in London, they come tumbling to the ground. Sing tattle-a-day. I buyed me a little box about 4 acres square. I filled it up with guinea and with silver so fair. So when I go to Turkey, I can travel like an ox, and in my breeches pocket I will carry my little box. Sing tattle-a-day. I buyed me a flock of sheep. I thought they were all weathers. Sometimes they yielded me wool, sometimes they yielded me feathers. I think mine are the best of sheep, for yielding me increase. For every full and change of the moon, they bring both lambs and geese. Sing taddle-a-day. I buyed me a little hen, all speckled, gay and fair. I set her on an oyster shell, she hatched me out a hare. The hare became a handsome horse, full 15 hands full high. And him that tells a bigger tale would have to tell a lie. Sing taddle-a-day. Another game we used to play at school was dialogues, quick dialogues. I think that there was a film at the time in which the key line was, there's a key line sometimes like, play it again, Sam, that. And I think there was a film that said, you remind me of a man. So that started this little dialogue going. So imagine two kids, as quick as they can. You remind me of a man. What man? The man with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Voodoo? You do. Do what? Remind me of a man. What man? The man with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Voodoo? And you just go on and on. Or when Life magazine came out, Life magazine was big. It was a wonderful one for kids especially, full of photographs, which was very distressing during the war, I will tell you. I'm talking about the Second World War, not the War of the Roses. So it was about a foot maybe wide and maybe about 14 inches high. And so this was our little dialogue about Life magazine. Life's hard. What's life? A magazine. Where do you get it? Newsstand. How much? A dime. Only got a nickel. That's hard. What's hard? Life's hard. What's life? A magazine. Where do you get it? Newsstand. And you see how these things imprint because they're from ear to mouth, and kids learn so quickly that it's a huge amount of fun when you start on one of those things. So I made a riddle song out of a rent strike that happened in January 1960 in London. In Hackney it was. The landlords, I could have been the council, raised the rents of these 6-story flats, and the people couldn't afford them, so they evicted them. And Don Cook and Arthur Rowe, who lived on the 6th floor of one of these flats, decided they weren't going to go, and they weren't going to pay the rent either. So they barricaded themselves into their flat. They got hold of an old upright piano, and they put it right up against the door. They put barbed wire all the way down all of the flights of stairs and around the little balustrade that looked out on the street. And people came in droves to support them. Artists came and sang, dancers came and danced, and bands came and played. And 1,000 police came. They couldn't get in. So finally the police were lowered down in through the roof. They hacked a hole through the roof. They happened to hack it right through the kitchen ceiling. And they found Don Cook and Arthur Rowe sitting peacefully having a cup of tea. And this was the line that hit the newspapers the next day. Won't you stop for a cup of tea? They said to the cops. So I made a song that was based on one of the old riddle songs that are very popular and common in folk tradition. And we called it Hey Ho, Cook and Row. As true a story I'll relate, hey ho, cook and row, how the landlord told Don Cook one night, hey ho, cook and row, you must answer questions 9, hey ho, cook and row, to see if your flat is yours or mine, hey ho, cook and row. Hey ho, tell them no, with a barbed wire fence and a piano. Took 1,000 cops to make them go. 3 cheers for Cook and Row. What is higher than a tree? Hey ho, Cook and Row. What is lower than a flea? Hey ho, cook and row. My rent is higher than a tree. Hey ho, cook and row. And the landlord's lower than a flea. Hey ho, cook and row. Hey ho, tell them no with the barbed wire fence and a piano. Took 1,000 cops to make them go. 3 cheers for cook and row. What goes on and never stops? Hey ho, cook and row. And what is kinder than the cops? Hey ho, cook and row. The tenants' fight will never stop. Hey ho, cook and row. And the devil is kinder than a cop. Hey ho, cook and row. Hey ho, tell them no with a barbed wire fence and a piano. Took 1,000 cops to make them go. 3 cheers for cook and row. What is stronger than a door? Hey ho, cook and row. And tell me what a roof is for. Hey ho, cook and row. Barbed wire is stronger, we have proof. Hey ho, cook and row. That's why you came in through the roof. Hey ho, cook and row. Hey ho, tell them no with a barbed wire fence and a piano. Took 1,000 cops to make them go. 3 cheers for cook and row. Will you get off my property? Hey ho, cook and row. Or will you pay the rent to me? Hey ho, cook and row. We've settled in, as you can see. Hey ho, cook and row. Now won't you stop for a cup of tea? Hey ho, cook and row. Hey ho, tell them no with a barbed wire fence and a piano. Took 1,000 cops to make them go. 3 cheers for cook and row. Now since I've lost my board and bed, hey ho, cook and row. I'll barricade the streets instead. Hey ho, cook and row. So all you tenants settle in. Hey ho, cook and row. Keep up the fight, we're bound to win. Hey ho, cook and row. Hey ho, tell them no with a barbed wire fence and a piano. Took 1,000 cops to make them go. 3 cheers for cook and row. Well, actually, they did lose the fight, but the whole thing started a new level of tenants' rights being granted. I'm a terrible plagiarist. I mean, really a bad one. I steal other people's ideas, but I do always acknowledge them. And I did steal the idea for this song from a little paragraph that was in a publication called The Funny Times. I can't get it over here, but I used to subscribe to it in America. You need humor in your life. So this one, sometimes it takes people just a little bit to grab what the humor actually is, what the wordplay actually is. It's called What a Life. I've been around a long time, they say I'm well preserved. Some say I'm over the hill, but I'm just round the curve. I loved one man for 30 years, I loved him till he died. Now other guys are after me, there's 9 to be precise. What a life, what a life. All these fellas fussing over me. I want to live alone and manage on my own, but there's all these fellas fussing over me. Willpower gets me out of bed and tries to make me smile. Then I go to visit John and sit on him a while. I have a drink with Earl Grey, he's always hot for me. And cranky arthritis keeps me constant company. What a life, what a life. All these fellas fussing over me. I want to live alone, manage on my own, but there's all these fellas fussing over me. Gymnasium is boring, but he keeps me fit and trim. Alzheimer phones me up, but I won't talk to him. Jack Daniels keeps my spirits up, but only now and then. A little goes a long way, it's the same with all the men. What a life, what a life, what a life. All these fellas fussing over me. I want to live alone and manage on my own, but there's all these fellas fussing over me. I'm a slave to Mr. McIntosh, I'm practically his wife. Hand in hand with Microsoft, we've written up my life. As long as I'm in charge, I don't care who's in on the deal. But you can bet that I won't let McDonald make my meals. What a life, what a life. All these fellas fussing over me. Da 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 da. I want to live alone and manage on my own, but there's all these fellas fussing over me. I want to live alone and manage on my own, but there's all these fellas fussing over me. So, technically speaking, what is a riddle? I tried looking it up on the web, and this is what I found. And it's so concise that I really have to read it out to you. A riddle is a question or a statement intentionally phrased so as to require ingenuity in ascertaining its answer or meaning. Whenever we used to ask my mother something that she didn't know the answer to, her answer was, "Not knowing with that degree of certainty which is so necessary in exigencies like the present, I shall not state, lest in so doing I should err therein." So all she had to do when we asked a question, or if she didn't know the answer, she'd just say, "Not knowing with," and by that time we'd be off somewhere trying to find the answer in a different way. But this is a technical riddle. This is kind of what they usually, the kind of thing you're used to. A doctor and a bus driver are both in love with the same woman. Her name is Sarah. The bus driver had to go on a trip that would last a week. Before he left, he gave Sarah seven apples. Now, why did he do that? Because an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Yeah. So, this is the last song, and it comes from our new album, which is called First Farewell. I'm putting the text here just in case, because I'm having trouble remembering this one recently. Recently being about the last take that I took, and I stumbled in the middle of it and had to start over again, and that was when I investigated all the swear words that I've learned in my life. So the new album is coming out on April 9th, and you can find out about it from Bandcamp. The song's called The Puzzle, and it means whatever you want it to mean. Born with a question mark carved on your face, her heart in your hand, she gave you one piece to put in its place. A corner piece and only one space. It wasn't a game, was it a dream? A dream. Through black and white windows, a garden of flowers, we finished the frame neat and in order, a childhood of ours completing the border. It wasn't a dream, beautiful, remember. Edges of time confine and change the curves of trust and love to guilt and blame, till less and less is left in reserve. Sometimes the pieces all look the same. It was never a game. Through black and white windows, a blue summer day, the puzzle is done, but some of the pieces were lost on the way. Begin again, or shall we go? We always knew, the very last piece would be left for you. For you. Next week, Cinderella, grown older, is coming to visit. And it'll probably be fairy tale or strange stories, I'm not too sure. Oh yes, the puzzle. Doon on his knees and he's at it, with a thing in his hand that'll fit it. Is it in, says he. I, says she. It's a richtig fit and I like it. Of course. It's a man trying a shoe on a woman's foot in a shoe shop. See you next week.